Hey, y'all, I'm Eboni K. Williams here, host and attorney extraordinaire. Welcome to Holding Court, where we analyze the very latest in legal headlines, the ones that got all the streets talking. You know what we do? We dig deep into how the courts impact the culture. We break it down, going straight from gavel to your news feed. And every week, we keep it 100. Right, Dustin Ross?
That's right.
Dustin Ross, my love.
Yes.
Well, I want to start off, this is June, so I want to tell you happy Pride.
Thank you.
But I also want you to tell the people what you said about July.
Yeah, July. If June is Pride, then July is definitely about to be shame for me, okay? Okay? Because Pride has already won the fight against me. I don't really lose fights.
First weekend?
First weekend whooped my ass.
Out the gate.
Yeah.
So, and that's saying a lot. Because you are formidable.
I am formidable when it comes to that sort of battle and combat.
Listen,
okay?
Hand to hand. Is that
Choose
what you call
your fighter. Let's go. But I just, yes, but it's a good time nonetheless.
Well, I believe in you, and I believe you're going to recoup.
Thank you.
For weekend 2.
Thank you. I need that. I need the vibes, baby. The vibes and the IV. Some Gatorade.
And some hydration.
Yes.
I got some green juice for you.
Thank you. I'll take it. How you feeling, my love?
I'm feeling good. I am feeling like really excited because we're kind of like going into, summer.
Yes, we
are.
Second
part of 2024. And I feel like it's been a hell of a year so far.
It has. A wonderful, beautiful year.
Yeah, a lot of people said, Dustin, it was made more beautiful last week when President Trump, former President Trump, let's keep it that way, right?
Yes.
Was convicted. Not of 1, not of 2, but all 34 charges.
Yes.
I remember looking on your social, and all I remember is my response, which was dead. You had me dead in the water. What did you say?
A couple things. Well, first of all, we want to give a shout out to Stormy Daniels, right?
We do. Which actually, and I've seen several martinis named, because the porn star martini is having a moment. I think the espresso martini moment is quieting down.
Yes.
Thank God. It's feeling a little corny to me. And so porn star martini, if you're not familiar, look up the ingredients. But people are reclassifying that in honor.
Yes.
Of Miss Stormy Daniels. And they're calling it the Stormy Daniels Martini.
Give me 2, please. Because shout out to her. They have this thing that people stood on business. So you stand on Stormy Daniels laid on business. She laid on business. That's what she did. And thank her for that. Yeah, so that we also refer to the charges. I like to call them the Central Park 34.
That's what it was.
That's
the
right.
Central Park 34
the Central
had
Park
me
34.
Dead on arrival.
Yeah.
So of course we're gonna in today's episode, y'all get into all things that. And a lot of people have questions, Dustin. I'm sure you're seeing them too. Can he still run? Will he actually serve jail time? And don't he have some more charges out there? We're gonna get into all of those details, all those questions, and give you some answers. Second up is a story that we keep coming back to, right? It's the story that keeps on giving. We've been covering it from season 1. And that is all things Miss Halle Berry and her divorce, which has been an 8-year ongoing divorce from her third husband, the Frenchman, Olivier. And y'all know she shares a son with this gentleman, Maceo. And they have an interesting court-mandated co-parenting class that they are taking. I feel like we've had Halle Berry on the holding court docket at least about 8 times.
Yeah.
I was doing the counting because we've discussed the divorce itself, we've discussed the spousal support, and we've discussed the many child support reduction filings that mostly Halle Berry has won, by the way. Shout out to Halle Berry and her legal team on that.
That's right.
For both this gentleman, Olivier, and also Gabriel, the model that she had.
Her daughter's father.
Correct. So we get into that. And last, but certainly not least, I know y'all have probably seen this one floating around the good old internet. American Airlines, and we Delta Air folks, and let's just name that. And there's a reason for that. Perfect? No, they're not, but certainly better than most on the market. Yeah. We'll get into all of that. But American Airlines, 3 black gentlemen have filed federal lawsuit. Okay, these are not state charges, y'all. Federal lawsuit against American Airlines for race discrimination. We're going to get into the why, the weeds, what was the circumstances that these brothers were asked to deplane, and what could their bag look like? Because I think they're going to get one.
Oh, they're definitely going to get a bag.
They're going to get one.
Baggage claim.
Right.
Okay.
They're going to find those bags.
Yes.
Oh, not on the carousel neither.
That's right. At the bank.
At the bank.
Okay.
Coming out the wire.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Let's start with Trump. Okay. So He was convicted of all 34 counts. Surprised, Dustin? Of all 34. Were you
very.
I have to say, even I was surprised that it was all 34.
Very surprised.
Yeah. Shout out to Alvin Bragg.
Absolutely. He got a lot to brag about, don't he?
You know, I'm going to be real quiet because I know a lot of folks didn't know Brother Alvin.
Mm-hmm.
And my mind went a lot of places when you said that.
Okay.
But anyways, yes. To a good son. A good son of Harlem. We're getting way off course already.
That's how you hold court.
Right. Segment 1. It's
what?
But yeah, no, Alvin, a good Harvard man, Harvard undergrad, Harvard Law. First black elected district attorney in Manhattan.
That's right.
Which is a very, very big deal. And, right out the gate, I mean, he was just elected in 2022. So here we are, not even 2 full years into his tenure, and a most historic case. I mean, if he doesn't really do anything else,
he's forever.
He's cemented in the history.
Yes, absolutely. Which is a great place to be.
I would say so.
You know, on the right side of history. On the right side of history,
on the right side of making the effort, Dustin, to preserve democracy. I do think that's one of the good things about what I'm seeing as we go into November 5th. Of course, that will be election day.
Right.
People are getting clearer and clearer, don't you think, about the choice being between having a democracy and not having one, and less about the minutia of this issue or that issue. Like, this is not really an issues election in that way.
It's not. It's about good versus evil, if we're being clear. Okay, so both of us admitting a bit of surprise that all 34 were guilty verdict. And again, for those that don't know this part of the scope, this is both the first time, y'all, that a former American president has even been criminally charged with felonies, okay? And now, more history, the first time he has been convicted. What a stain.
What a statement. What a statement. And so, first question, can he, now that he is a convicted felon, which he is, can he still run for office? The answer is simply put, yes. Okay. And I want people to hear this because I was talking to friend of the show and friend in real life, Miss Natalie, yesterday. Yes, we were leaving brunch. Hey, girl, hey. And people kind of don't realize, Dustin, that when it comes to all these other federal jobs or frankly jobs at Walmart or Starbucks, there are criteria where in which being convicted, sometimes even of a misdemeanor, but certainly a felony, will eliminate you from the process. There are jobs in the federal government that he wouldn't even make it past clearance, right? Most. But the presidency is unique. There is literally no prohibition, none, from a convicted felon to hold the presidency. It's only 3 requirements to be president. You don't even have to be a college graduate. None of that applies. You need to be 35 years or older of age. You need to be a United States citizen. And this is actually the one that hems some people up, D. You have to be actually born in the continental United States. You can't be a naturalized citizen, none of that. That's why it was, all that birther bullshit about Obama. Right. And even there was some birther shit started by Trump as well with his party mate, Ted Cruz. See?
Listen, just like my girl Cheska Lee said, she has a jingle she made up about people who face consequences that were obvious to us. I love a jingle, by the way. Go ahead. And she sings this song about how she never thought the leopards would eat their face, right? And that applies in this case. Yeah, it literally does. So nothing in those 3 qualification modules have changed for Trump. So he will be running. He is able to run. In fact, let's talk about appeal. People want to know about that. Of course, this will be appeal. He's currently set to be sentenced on July 11th, and that is literally just a matter of days before the Republican National Convention, where they will announce him as the formal nominee, and that will happen. Okay, so don't nobody think that's not going to happen. And I think I want to be clear on it, Dustin, because a lot of people are confused. A lot of people saw that verdict and they're celebrating the wrong thing. They're celebrating that, this clearly means that we have avoided a second term of Trump. No, it literally doesn't. And one of the things that his team is putting out aggressively, and I don't really believe these numbers because there's no accountability behind them, but there's reports that he's raised up to $200 million just since this verdict came out. Well, we know 83 of it is going to E. Jean Carroll. Right, so we can cut that on down. Just to say it calmly and collectedly. Okay. Yeah. Again, I don't think I believe that quite much. But the point is he is fundraising on this because his base, y'all, is incentivized. This goes to the story that Trump has been saying that he's a victim, and this is supposedly how he relates to black men. Golly, spare me, right? It just
all
makes me
this
want to
bullshit.
curse, but go ahead.
Okay, well, I'll do it for you. It's some bullshit.
Yeah, what the fuck do you mean? That and those sneakers, all of that. That doesn't equate to relatability. I mean, there's nothing relatable about Donald Trump to me as a black man. I've been a black man for a minute.
Your whole life, actually. Yeah.
And so, it's, again, another
But you know what doesn't help,
face.
Dustin? Doesn't help when you have other black men.
Mm-hmm.
Kodak Black, last I checked, Dwayne Carter, also known as
Lil Wayne. That one really hurt me.
Yeah, that one really hurt me, but Wayne has been dabbling in pain points.
Yeah.
Dabbling in pain points. We might have to call the episode that. He's been dabbling in pain points in a variety of ways for a while.
He has.
Despite his genius. And several other black men, Dustin, have made a space. I mean, it's not far from the cultural vulture conversation we had on last week's episode, where, we should rightly condemn whiteness and white individuals that encroach the sanctity of the black experience.
That's right.
And also, we have to be accountable for those of us that look like us that invite that shit, that invite that energy, that invite that false equivalency. So,
Amber Rose.
Oh, I forgot about her dumb ass. And then she's the worst, right? Because, ma'am, you are opting in and out of blackness at your own convenience. So now you're trying to pass on black social currency to a white individual when you yourself are not fully vested. It's like a stock.
Let's
Amber
start
Rose,
there. Okay.
Amber Rose ain't fully vested. What you talking about, Dustin?
A bunch of bullshit. And then had the nerve to double down on it in replies to the backlash she got. Mm-hmm. She equated her support of him to her not wanting biological men in women's sports, right? That's what she called remind you that's not even a real thing.
Correct.
Right? There's not an influx of transgender women that
are
trying to do this, but she equated that situation to what, made her support him. We know she spent years taking up space in the ballroom community. Yeah. Okay, it's Pride Month, so let's put it on what it needs to go on.
Too, yeah.
She spent years shoulder to shoulder with transgender women, walking balls and positioning herself as some sort of ally.
Somebody could say centering herself, but go ahead.
Now they biological men that want to compete in women's sports. Give me a fucking break, Amber Rose. With your bald-headed ass.
We'll pass. Yeah, I'm still mad at the face tat. But anyway.
We should have known then. We did know then.
We actually did know then. That was what you call a tell.
Right.
All right. So we've answered, yes, he can still run for president. Yes, he will appeal. Yes, the appeal will likely delay any active sentencing. So let's go to, let's say the appeal let's say the sentencing still happens on July 11th. Now, y'all note it might not, because once he enters that appeal, that might trigger a delay in the sentencing. But delayed or not, even let's say he's sentenced to some level of active prison time, which I don't really foresee. I think all legal minds and what do you call them?
Analysts.
Civilian. The plain folks. I mean,
a layperson.
A layperson. Thank you, Dustin. See, that's why you on the show. Both legal opinions and those of lay folk.
Yes.
Tend to be collectively agreed that this is likely going to be. See, I'm just because I don't want shame in July. But it's looking that way. It's looking that way.
As an ally to the community, you're going to be a shame.
I'm going to get it right.
Trying to tell you.
Okay. He will likely get y'all probation or house arrest. So I don't want you to be surprised. And when I started kind of contemplating that, I had to think about the hypocrisy, of course, as it relates to Sister Marilyn Mosley, right?
Oh,
Because that was, where there was all this commotion and 40 years and I believe, let me be very plain, I think the house arrest was the absolute right sentencing for her. I think that woman should have never seen the inside of a jail cell at all, despite the guilty plea, right? But I don't see those same far-right conservatives that are calling this Trump conviction, Dustin, a political witch hunt. I don't see them with that same energy when it relates to this woman's peril. I wonder what could be the difference.
Let's think.
I wonder what it could be.
Marilyn Mosby. Should I Google image search?
I think we should do an image search. I think we should do a side-by-side.
Because
exactly.
There's a difference.
Because there's a difference. But in both of them, so if you're going to make the argument, right, that politicians may or may not be doing legal wrongdoing, but they're being targeted on a political basis, you have to make that argument consistently and uniformly. And when you fail to do so, we have to call it what it is: anti-blackness, bigotry, sexism, patriarchy, things of this nature.
And typical antics from the Republican Party today.
Typical. So, I will move forward with, okay, so he's probably going to be sentenced at some point. It might be July 11th. It might be further down the road due to the appeal itself, but eventually he will get sentenced. Now, there is a scenario because Trump was so sloppy and raggedy and aggressive and nasty with this judge that the judge might give him, he can give him a little 30-day lick. Mm-hmm. He can give him 3 months, something like that. I don't think we'll see more than that if we see active jail time at all. But if that is the case, people want to know, well, when will he do that time? And realistically, even if he is sentenced, y'all, to even a day in active prison, which could absolutely happen, he's looking at 4 years total. It will likely happen if he's reelected. It will happen after his term. He will then have the power not to pardon himself, but to delay. He can't pardon himself, for those wondering, because these are not federal charges. If they were, he could.
Well, again, though, Ebony, we're talking about Donald Trump, someone who has shown no regard to rules, to the legal system, or to any processes we have in place. So who's to say what he'll do if he's reelected, and he'll find a way to try to pardon himself. He'll find a way to uproot that and do something.
Long-standing legal precedent.
He'll find a way.
He is just, golly. Okay, so he got 3 other charges criminally. I'm talking about, like you said, the G.N. Carroll and all that civil shit is still coming. I wouldn't be surprised. Shout out to Bill Pruitt, who actually is a gentleman I met in Los Angeles in my early days of broadcasting. He's a veteran executive producer. He was one of the senior level producers on The Apprentice. And Bill Pruitt's NDA just ran out last week. And he must have had a timer set for that motherfucker, because he said it's been 20 years to the day.
Okay, and let's chat.
Free at last. Let me talk about it. And Bill said flat out, absolutely, it's true. He said the N-word. I heard it. It's recorded. And he said it in relation to Kwame Jackson. Shout out to a fellow Tar Heel. Kwame was first runner-up on the first season of The Apprentice. Bill Rancic ended up winning, but it was between Kwame. And if you watch the whole season, I watched the whole season. Did you watch the season?
Yes, that was back when I liked The Apprentice.
Correct.
Yeah.
Listen.
It was must-see television.
Black folks roll with The Apprentice.
Yes.
Let's be clear.
Celebrity Apprentice too.
A very long period of time. Absolutely. And really, it was Kwame's to lose. I mean, if you watch the whole season. And according to Bill Pruitt and other sources, this is not the first time we've heard this, by the way, Trump was like, yeah, but is America going to buy an N-word as the winner? So I'm just giving y'all all this context, right? For those that really want to, live in, kind of delusion or some kind of playing dumb, I don't know. And nah, fuck all that, because this is the same man whose career started in court when he and his father said black folks weren't even good enough to live in their buildings in Manhattan. Let us not forget. So, the court and Trump of it all has always been rooted in anti-blackness. And of course, thank God now most people know about his indignant and aggressive posture with the now exonerated 5, when they were just 5 young black and brown boys
that he wanted dead.
He took out full page ads in the New York Times and other national publications across the country and called for them. New York didn't even have the death penalty at this point, and we still don't. He asked for them to bring it back, Dustin.
Mind you, he wasn't working in politics whatsoever at the time, right?
But it makes you wonder what puppet strings he was pulling behind the scenes, right?
Thank you.
Right?
That lets you know that he's been connected to these
outcomes.
Yes, for a very long time here. Very long time.
The whole goddamn time, if we really want to tell the truth about it.
He's a fucking racist, and it's not a question at this point.
Yeah, this is not even a policy. Y'all stop. Yeah, so
it's not an opinion. It's a fact.
Miss us with the opinions, miss us with the policy, because y'all know, I mean, I've made a whole career out of, going into spaces and being totally objective when it comes to, the partisan, the R, the D, fuck all that, the red, the blue, fuck all that. show me the policy. But I can't even listen to your fucking policy, Dustin, when you already had a cemented court file stamped track record of actively and unapologetically discriminating against Black folks' right to even live.
Absolutely.
Literally. Period. So that's it. That's all on Trump in terms of that. But again, let me just run down these other 3 cases because people do want to know what else is going on. As Miss Cynthia
now, what else is going on? Shout out to you, Cynthia. Yes.
That's one of my favorite Real Housewives.
One of my favorite people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Cynthia's she's goodness.
Salt of the earth.
Yes.
Salt of the earth.
Yes.
And what else is going on?
Now, what else is going on?
Trump. So he got a couple of things going on. He has 2 federal charges. One rooted in Florida, which is the documents. This is the allegation that upon leaving the White House, Trump was funneling very important high security level documents, refused to this day to turn them back over to the government. So there is a federal criminal charge outstanding for him in Florida. Special prosecutor Jack Smith is leading the case on that. So that's the documents case. There is another case also by special counsel Jack Smith. This one federal, but in D.C. This is January 6th. This is insurrection. This is a charge, y'all, rooted in the claim that Trump specifically helped lead an overturning of the government, an overturning of the peaceful transition of power, which America has always had when we have a new elected president. And so that's the nature of that charge. The Supreme Court is actually taking up right now whether or not, because Trump is saying on that one that he can't be prosecuted because it comes from a time where he was still the president. And he's basically exerting his defense as presidential immunity.
So no, I didn't do that. But
No.
You can't get it because I was the president.
And I was allowed. Yeah.
What a piece of shit.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say a piece of work, but I'm glad you said it plain.
Yeah,
a piece of shit.
A piece of shit.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what's going on there. Again, y'all stay tuned. We will be covering it here on Holding Court. So again, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you get your notifications. And just probably next 2, 3, 4 at the max episodes, we're going to have a ruling from the Supreme Court, Dustin, that's going to say whether or not they buy this argument that you get to do what the fuck you want to do simply because you're president.
You know they're going to side with him.
Well, see, that's the thing. Now, probably, but I have to name that Gorsuch and at a time, Amy Coney Barrett, and I don't know about that last one, that old super sus, that Kavanaugh. But I will say Gorsuch and Amy Coney Barrett, both Trump, 2 out of the 3 Trump Supreme Court far-right conservative justices that sit on the Supreme Court that have raised the hellacious overturning of Roe v. Wade and affirmative action in higher learning. But on a couple of occasions, those 2 have surprised a lot of folks. And they have actually not just ruled lockstep with Trump. So we have to hold the possibility. Because here's the thing about justices, y'all. They are political pawns as anybody, but they tend to feel a way about their own legacies, because there was a time not so long ago, Dustin, where the Supreme Court held itself in higher regard than any other branch of government. And that's just probably because we lawyers and we tend to feel we're more qualified than everybody else. You saw I was struggling trying to find the word, lay people. That's indicative of the energy I'm talking about.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So there was a time where they would not tarnish their own branding as an objective legal mind and a moral compass for the sake of partisan politics. Clearly, we have seen that era be bygone more and more and more and more. There is definitely a kind of moral dilemma and an ethical dilemma and an existential crisis of sorts going on with these conservative justices, where they know where their bread is buttered. They know they're only there but for Trump, but they also have some level of concern.
I hope.
But again, it don't mean they're gonna do the right thing. To your point, I'm not projecting that. But I am saying, look at William Barr. Now, we know he's the biggest piece of shit ever. You opened the first episode reading him for filth. And even he now out of that posture wants to condemn and indict. So that shit's kind of interesting.
Let's hope. Surprise me.
Yeah, surprise me. That's right. Surprise us. And of course, last but not least, Trump. So that's 2 federal cases he got going on criminally. 1 in D.C., 1 in Florida. The last one is, of course, Miss Fonnie T. Willis in Fulton County. That is still ongoing. It has been delayed. Of course, we saw the stupid Nate Wade, that dumb shit caused delay. But there's also other delays, y'all. There's other delays, other pretrial motions. That case will still proceed, but it will likely not proceed until sometime very deep, probably into 2025.
Okay.
So that's the slate. That's Trump's criminal docket laid out for you.
That's a damn shame.
Ain't that crazy?
That is a damn shame that people are still, even with all of that, all that pertinent and alarming, you know what I mean? All of that information, it's just crazy to me that people still are blindly supporting this man.
Well, for his base, and see, I'm going to do just a tiny bit of politics on this. I'm not going to stay on it. But for his base, Dustin, this is ammunition. This is that Confederacy last stand type of energy where...
in the way of peace and democracy and all of the things that we need in our lives, right?
And listen,
goodbye.
It would be a fair argument to say it's the most un-American, unpatriotic shit we've ever seen. Yeah. But to the politics piece, so his base, not only are they still following him, Dustin, they're doubling down. Yeah. So this is exciting for them. But nobody wins. Not Biden, not Obama, not Bush 2. Not Clinton, not Trump. Nobody wins a presidential election with just their base. You need some proportionality of that moderate, swing, independent, whatever phrase you want to use, voter. You got to have it. And this is where polls are indicating, and common sense, frankly, we don't even need to poll this shit. Common sense says that somebody who's not a ride or die, Trump is my last stand of white if you just, well, let me look at my tax bracket and da-da-da-da-da, this is alarming for you, actually. This is something to make you reconsider. This is something that will pull voters like that away from a Trump success.
Well, that's good news. That's wonderful news.
Yeah. So, but, will it be enough? What will voter turnout look like overall? What is the Biden-Harris administration doing to shore up a high voter turnout? Remember, high voter turnout is more victory for Biden. Low voter turnout will go in favor of Donald Trump. So these are just big bucket things for everybody to think about as they're deciding to have their protest party on the couch and all that bullshit.
Cardi B.
All that bullshit.
Piss me off. The one, come on, anyway.
No, that's what you're here for.
Right, but let's just move on.
You want to move on because you're going to get heated?
Yes, and that really pissed me off when she did that because it was so detrimental to what we need right now. And I just... Yeah.
It also was so inconsistent and incongruent with who she just was in 2020. You literally asked for the microphone because nobody actually came to Cardi randomly and said, we want you to be a leading voice in this political election.
I don't believe they did.
They did not.
Yeah.
She asked to be passed the mic. And because of her stature and public notoriety, the party was willing to say, okay, you want to be in this? We're going to invite you to the table. And you led a pro-Biden movement, a pro-Kamala Harris movement on that basis. And then when the shit got too hot, so that's another episode. We might need to do an episode about that because there's a few people that asked for the mic. It's a few people that asked to be in the political arena from different spaces of entertainment, black and white and other. And yet now when the shit got real, they're bowing out.
Yeah, we definitely need to dig a little deeper in that.
Yeah.
And we will.
And we will. All right, y'all. Halle Berry is going to have court-mandated co-parenting counseling sessions with her ex-husband and her partner. It was the and the partner for me.
For me, too.
That's really the only reason I put it on the docket because, these type of court-mandated co-parenting classes are common. Basically, when two grown people can't figure it out, the judge says, make it enough. Okay? Yeah. The judge said, make it enough.
Right.
As well they should. So right now, Halle and her ex-husband, Olivier Martinez, have to do 6 sessions. They're going to start with 6. And then they're going to say, how y'all dumbasses doing? And if y'all need more, we're going to make you do more. But hopefully they can resolve some of this stuff. What is interesting to me is that Van Hunt, the But 2 years, 3 years they've been together. How long have they?
About 3 years.
How long we been looking at these pictures of these butt naked guitars and shit in the woods?
It's been about 3 years.
And bathtubs and shit.
It has been about 3 years of those shots. 3 years of that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's fine.
Yep.
They like it. I absolutely love it for them. But I actually don't like. I'm gonna just say it plain. I don't like his involvement in the co-parenting classes, particularly from this legal mandated lens. And I'm going to tell you why. Because there is no legal structure around Van Hunt in Maceo's life. Mm-hmm. Now, this would be different if Van Hunt, even unmarried to Halle Berry, because that's fine. Grown folks definitely get to grown folk on that. And I would argue legally there is no incentive for Halle Berry to be married to anyone ever again. Mm-hmm. And I hope anybody that's friends with the Oscar-winning actress will let her know that. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, they're not married. That's not my beef. My beef is he's also not a legal guardian of Maceo. He's not an adoptive parent of Maceo. So, his legal interest in Maceo, as far as I can see, is non-existent. Mm-hmm. It's non-existent, Dustin.
So what are you doing there? And I wonder why he's there.
Tell me if I'm wrong.
Not at all. You know, Van Hunt, I love his music, and he's got a song called Down Here in Hell with You. That's one of my favorite songs, and that's what it sounds like. That's where he at now.
That's you know what I'm saying?
Going these co-parenting, because first of all, y'all work all that out. Mm-hmm. I don't have nothing to do with that. Y'all work that out.
You literally don't, though.
You know? And I understand they're deeply in love, and I think their relationship is great.
And I'm sure he interfaces with Maceo, but from a legal, you know what I mean? From a legal, and if I want to remember right, Dustin, I believe that Halle Berry at some point had some legal adoption or legal binding to Eric Benet's daughter, India. Mm-hmm. Do we remember this?
Absolutely, yes.
And what we can see by at least what we know, and Halle shares a lot, I don't even see Halle in that young lady's life.
I haven't seen them together either, and so...
but you see what I'm saying? So it's like even when there's some level of legal binding to a non-parent, so to speak, to a child, that still tends to go out the window. That still tends to dissipate. So without that,
what the hell are we doing here?
What the extra hell are we doing here? Take your ass out the room, Van. I don't like it. A couple details about the divorce and the custody and the bag of it all. Right now, again, shout out to Halle Berry's lawyer, because I know Halle Berry got some money. Mm-hmm. She got some money.
As she should.
As well she should. Yeah. She's had a
illustrious career.
Illustrious, historic career for the better part of 30 years. So she got money. The fact that Halle Berry is only paying this man $8,000 a month child support, come on, somebody.
Good for her.
Because
what the hell he thought?
And great for her legal team. You
finna come up off this black woman's back just because you trapped her?
Right, because I ain't seen him in nothing since Unforgiven.
We didn't forgot.
I guess I done forgot.
We forgot. Okay, it might be Unforgiven, but we have forgotten.
I think it was Unforgiven with Diane Lane, and that was a good ass movie though. But that's the last thing I remember.
And we on Halle's side.
That's it. So Halle's only paying $8,000 a month for child support only, so no spousal. And then I do think she paid him a lump sum, but even that was relatively low considering where she's at financially. And then she's got to do, if she makes over $2 million a year, she's got to do 4.3% of that, which I did the math, is roughly about like $85,000, $90,000. Point being, all in, and then 8,000 times 12, whatever it was still under. She's literally not paying over $100,000 to $200,000 a year. That's great.
Yes,
that's
and
great.
Good.
That's great. That's what you call diligence, because it was more. But this is the lesson for everybody out there listening that's not an Oscar-winning actress, not a multimillionaire. It don't fucking matter. If you feel that you are being overcharged in child support, and we all know some folks that feel that way, right? Call your legal representative and ask them to set a reduction hearing on your behalf, because that is what Halle has done each and every time with Olivier and with Gabriel. Halle's saying, I'm not making that X-Men money no more. I'm not making that Flintstones money anymore. I'm not making that Swordfish money anymore, right? So therefore, I ain't got that. I don't have $40,000, because she was paying like upwards of $40,000.
It was a large amount
to Gabriel at one point. And she brought that right on down.
Good for her.
Good for her. So that's it. That's all on that.
Go take a picture. Don't you model? Go take a damn
Gabriel?
picture. Yeah.
Right. I ain't seen him in nothing since them Oakley ads.
We ain't seen him in nothing since them checks started coming.
That's it.
That's what it was. And so now we better see it. But he might have got old now.
Oh, Gabriel? Yeah, I'm sure he has. Because we literally haven't seen him.
He's going to crack.
And we know how folks tend to age.
Yes.
Especially the ones that lack melanin.
That's right. So
shout out to that. But I really just think that the key here is, number one, do like Halle and get you a reduction hearing.
Stay on top of your shit.
Stay on top of your shit. And even if it's denied, y'all, because sometimes they'll deny it, this is where persistence is key. You got to, okay, well, denied it in June, let's go back in November. They denied it in November, let's go back in March. You keep going back, eventually you will likely prevail on some level. And then you reduce and you reduce and you reduce till it's something that you feel is equitable. But getting boyfriends, girlfriends, partners involved in court mandated co-parenting,
it's messy.
It's messy and
unnecessary
and wholly unnecessary and irrelevant, and I don't see any benefit from it, Dustin. I really don't. That's your man, and what y'all do at y'all's house with Maceo is y'all's business. Halle, you should be grown enough and able to come to these sessions with Olivier, the boy's biological father. And again, you picked him. You picked him. And this is the thing about co-parents, Dustin. Actual co-parents, y'all picked each other. So all of this inability to work it out, figure it out, what do you always say? Keeping it player. I don't really empathize with it. I do understand sometimes things are unforeseen, but ultimately y'all two grown-ups picked one another to bring a life into this world. And if you need to stand in that, y'all need to stand in that, and then you run back and convey what you need to convey to Van in the bathtub with the guitar.
When you pillow talk.
Yeah. Or leaf talk or whatever they do.
He needs to go wait in the car. That's basically what this Van. Take your ass outside, go wait in the car.
You literally
that's what he needs to do.
Put the AC on and wait in the car.
That's it.
Here are the keys.
Damn.
Here are the keys. American Airlines. I said it and Dustin's whole face dropped.
Because you already know. This pissed me OFF. I can only imagine. As you tell the details, it'll make more sense for our audience. But I can only imagine what these gentlemen must have felt like. Yeah. And infuriated is not even the word to describe it. So, and
embarrassed and confused, and no one's dumb in this era. So we've all boarded a flight somewhere, right? So imagine you've boarded your flight. You are seated. If you're like me, you've probably taken your shoes off.
If you're like me, you're already asleep.
Right. You've already got your neck pillow in place. You've already gotten yourself comfortable in your seat. In your proper seat assignment, might I add. Only for a flight attendant to point you out, literally, you right there, sir, in 34E in the middle. Come with me. Oh, and you over here, sir, you too come with me. And then you're looking around at who's being called out. Selected. Some could say singled out. And it's only other men that look like you. It's only other black men. And I just knew something was missing from this story when I first read the headline, Dustin, because I'm like, I know good and damn well, after everything that American Airlines has already been through, which we'll get to that in a minute, they are not sitting up here and apple picking black men to deplane. I just knew it was going to be, I'm going to just tell y'all, I just knew it was going to be the threat of a bomb. I just knew it was going to be a national security issue. I just knew it was going to be something big. Now, whether they were right or wrong about it, we were going to withhold the judgment, right? But I knew it was going to be a big ticket item that would make them even act in this posture. Only to find out their brothers Alvin Jackson, Emmanuel Jean-Joseph, Xavier Veal. 3 black men that didn't know each other, by the way, before all this happened. Strangers. And then there were some other black men who are just simply not named in this suit. But they probably gonna want something to take. But anyway, we'll get to that later. These 3 black men, strangers before this horrific incident, ended up being hand-selected by the flight attendant, asked to deplane. And why were they asked to deplane, Dustin? Because a white passenger said that they didn't like an odor, literally, that something was rank. And because they couldn't identify which black, and again, this is, you know what, this is giving Juliana Rancic from the carpet when
patchouli.
She
smelling like patchouli and weed.
Talking about Zendaya smelling like. Are we really? That's what it is. I mean, we know that's what it is, but like y'all have assigned an unpleasant odor to black people as a whole. God damn. Damn, Dustin.
Listen, when I read this and they said that they removed these, was it 8 black men in
8
total? 8
total, yeah, because there's those 3 and 5 additional.
Because of the sin. Now, what did 8 black men smell like on a flight?
What did 8 black men smell like? Because most of the black men I know smell like juices and berries.
And Tom Ford,
patchouli, Armani.
Valentino, I know that's what I wear.
Actually, Creed. What you know about that? I know you do know about
Dior
it.
Sauvage.
Listen.
That's what they used
Green
to wear.
Irish. Come on now. Come on. A little Bond.
Yeah, a little Bond. Little Bond
ain't never done me nothing. Come on now, the little square.
Come on.
So yeah, so it's all disgusting. These men were ordered off the flight, literally deplaned, only to then, and again, how embarrassing again, to be put back on this same flight because they couldn't find another flight to take them somewhere.
Back in the hands of the same racist staff.
Yeah, and now you have to sit on this flight and go across the country. The flight was boarding in Phoenix, headed to New York. Disgusting.
Absolutely.
So in a joint statement, the men had this to say, D, imagine a flight attendant ordering every white person off a plane because of a complaint about one white person. This would never happen, but this is what happened to us. There's no explanation other than the color of our skin. And apparently, let it be said that American Airlines basically said, I agree. According to the lawsuit, the men pointed out that it looked like their removal was discriminatory and based on race and blackness, to which an American airline representative said, I agree. They better hope that ain't true, because if that's true, American needs to go ahead and just open the checkbook up. Don't even play with it. Deposition for what? Inquiry for who?
Pay the people.
Just pay them and pay them quick.
Yep.
Before it gets worse.
The fact that this happened on American Airlines, I thought was poetic.
Oh, I see thought
what
that was poetic. Did there.
Yeah, I did.
The red, white, and blue of it all.
Okay. On an American Airlines flight, all the black men are asked to deplane because they stink. And I'm trying to decide if I want to say what I really want to say, and I think I'm going to just say it. This your shit.
It is. We are holding court with Eboni K. Williams, so fuck it. The notion of what stinks, the notion of what is an unpleasant smell, has cultural implications. Actually, if it can, I just have to say it, Dustin, because I've been in parts of the world where I don't like the smell, and these are parts of the world that are Eurocentric in nature, and I don't care for the smell. It stinks to me. Do I have the capacity to I guess what I'm trying to get to, y'all, is who is dictating and on what basis and what premise what even stinks.
And in this case, to be clear, it was a white man.
That's the point I'm making, Dustin Ross. For all we know, these men might have smelled like Armani, and to you that stank because you like smelling like corn.
What you smell like.
Or whatever.
Listen.
I'm going to move on from it. I know we get in a slippery slope. But but I think that
points were made.
The point was made, and it was an important point from a legal lens. That when we start trying to justify certain behaviors and say, well, it's not based on race, it's a more objective standard of a poor smell, indicative, we must assume, of poor hygiene. How are we defining that, and who is deciding who is the authority of that? That's right.
Who's setting the mark here?
Yeah. Damn, that's a good ass argument.
That's a very good argument.
And it's a really valid, like, that is really the jux of the legalities here. And in addition to, of course, the blatant, obvious race discrimination piece, when you go under the hood of that.
Talk about it, Eboni.
When you go under the hood of that blanket allegation, what we're really talking about is a defaulting to white authority and white supremacy, really, and whiteness.
And we're not going to pretend as if there aren't countless confessions and countless uncoverings of systematic efforts like this. People infiltrating staff, people infiltrating the legal system, people infiltrating the education system to become teachers, people becoming cops with blatant racist agendas.
And
this is what it looks like.
They're anti-black racist agendas, Dustin, that are so immersed, so ingrained. It's not a far step from the anti-blackness and discrimination of what is professional hair, right? To the point where now we have to have a Crown Act and other pieces of state legislation to force a shift in this defaulting of white posture. We have an understanding of braids or dreads or afros or even a certain level of curl to a certain level of kink, a certain level of curl to one's hair seen as unprofessional. We've labeled it away because what we're doing subconsciously, even, Dustin, is we're defaulting to a white standard of aesthetic. And I would argue here we are defaulting to a white standard of odor. And it is as problematic and un-American as anything else.
For sure. Listen.
Period.
Well, it's going to smell like a whole lot of money. They're going to smell like money now.
It's going to smell like the fresh press of currency.
Okay, I don't know what they smelled like
you
before.
See what I did? The fresh
press. Sheets.
Press
That's
of
it.
Currency.
Yeah.
So good luck to those brothers. All right, y'all. Get paid. And we put a pin in this for later, y'all. We talked about American is not new to this. American Airlines, that is. Or America, the country. Both apply. In 2017, not that long ago, the NAACP issued an entire travel advisory around the whole airline, telling black people not to, or at least to exercise caution when flying on American Airlines. And that came about because there was a series, not one, not two, but a series of events, including a black passenger being here we go again, removed from a flight.
Yep.
And one had to have their seat rearranged again. So
fucking with black people.
Like with black people. So this is giving, all the things this is giving Dred Scott. I'm not going to say more. Look it up if you don't know the history there. This is giving all of the examples that led to the Montgomery bus boycott. I mean, y'all, this is literally the same issue.
Yep. Just up in the air. Yep. Well, I guess what else is going to be up in the air? Their net worth after their losses hit, okay?
I know that's right. We Dustin Ross and I gonna stick with our good Sky Miles priority situation, and shout out to Delta. And again, not to romanticize any company on this issue, because on any given day, anybody could get it, and it could happen. But I believe, I was about to say, I think them being based in Atlanta helps with Delta. I just have to believe.
We have to, because that's a very black city.
It's a very black city with a lot of black board participation and a lot of black influence, that perhaps they have been better coached and better, just put in better advisement around these types of issues. And until we see something different, I'm gonna go over there.
That's right.
All right, y'all. With that, we appreciate y'all for this another episode of Holding Court. Join us again next week, where we will be right back in session. We will have some more headlines for you, everything you're already talking about. We're going to go into the questions you have and give you the answers that you need, right?
That's right.
Because that's really what we do.
That's what we're here for.
That's actually what we do.
That's right.
We love it. In the meantime, y'all, stay safe. Happy Pride to all that celebrate.
Yeah.
And just go ahead and get it out your system in June, because Dustin said come July.
It's shame, y'all. June is Pride, July is shame.
All right, what you want the people to do, D?
Read your terms and conditions, please.
All right.
Please.
All right. Holding Court is produced by Uppity Productions. Host and executive producers here, Eboni K. Williams, yours truly, and the Dustin Ross. Executive producer in Dossie, McCraw. We've also got our senior producer, Ashley Hobbs. Creative consultant, Jay Kleinberg. And follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and any and everywhere you get your podcasts.